Good afternoon / evening, WTU. Hope you're okay. It's been a long few days. It's been a long few months actually, hasn't it? I apologise for not managing to do the update this time yesterday as I'd hoped to. Basically, my attention was drawn to an article in which Robert was referenced, which will be discussed further on in the thread. So I had to address that issue, find out what was going on there, make inquiries with Robert, find out all the situation. So it delayed my update, and then today I've had various things going on. So long story short, here's yesterday's update today. So yesterday I spent, I think, about another 6 hours maybe, I can't quite recall, with Claire Sperry, where she remote accesses my laptop and goes on the phone call with myself, and I basically dictate, like voice recognition software, but with a human instead of a machine, and it works far better, far more productive. So we now have produced a 35-page document with the WTU case outline, and also 29 evidence sources with which we intend to basically challenge the policy. You may recall that we spent a whole lot of effort as a community making the WTU open letter that we sent to the Crown Prosecution Service. That was also sent over to the Home Office, and we have had a response from them, the Drug Legislation Department, and that was actually uploaded into the Files tab maybe a couple of weeks ago. So Claire and I spent about 7 hours, I think it was, ripping that to pieces, and Robert's now had a chance to look over that, and he reckons we've got a strong case. He reckons we've raised many points in there that we can evidence against, which makes it quite easy for us to prove that their policy is wrong in short terms. He went through my analysis, or our analysis, and confirmed that there were several areas there that we are able to make a legal challenge around. So we are still hoping and building towards that. What else just crossed my mind then? Something else just crossed my mind as I was saying all that. So that was going on yesterday, and then Robert and I have been helping several people, a handful in the group, who are facing cannabis prosecutions for various things, from driving offences to possession to all sorts. He has been very busy helping other people with other cases, which is why we've had a bit of a slow uptake with him this last week or so. We are pro bono, which I'm grateful for, but unfortunately means we're pro bono, so paying customers will come first. So it turns out things don't always move as fast as we'd like them to, put it that way. I should have printed off everything I wrote. Unfortunately, I don't know if I actually bloody wrote this in the notes. We've been denied a bank account again. This seems to be the biggest problem with the bank account, is that WTU isn't a business. So when I was filling in the application this last time and going through all the details, the simple fact that we give away our merchandise for no fixed cost, that there is no fixed cost for anything at all, and we're not a business, and people give into the donation pot, and that money is then used to make more merchandise and resources that are just given away again to the next people for no cost. And if they're able, they donate, and then it goes further into the pot in this kind of perpetual cycle. This confuses the hell out of banks because it's non-capitalist, it's non-business, it's non-profit. And for what they've been telling me, it is actually money laundering risk, because basically someone could walk away with a t-shirt and donate 50 grand, and that 50 grand could be dirty money. So on that basis, we keep getting denied accounts. Now, I know this particular one was nothing at all to do with my questionable credit history, because my illness has made me default on 3 credit items: a loan, a credit card, and an overdraft. I've been keeping up to date with various agreements with that, but I was assured in this process that they don't even do credit checks, because it wasn't a credit account or anything like that. So I know from that it's nothing at all to do with my personal issues with having defaulted on overdraft, loan and credit card. It'll come down to the fact that we come down as this like hot potato organisation that confuses the fuck out of them, because we aren't a fixed price. And that, in banking terms, they tell me, gives great area for abuse and money laundering, which is majorly disheartening, because WTU isn't a business. It's not about business and profit and making money. Money needs to be generated in order to pay for campaign funds, merchandise, flyers, anything that gives away. I mean, really, if we actually raise money, we could make a nationwide publicity campaign to make everybody in the world, in the country, aware of the WTU campaign. It's only lack of funds that stop these things from being possible. So WTU does seek to generate money in order to be able to pump it back into its campaign, but it doesn't seek to make money in the profiting sense. And this seems to, like I say, be confusing the hell out of banks. So far, I think I must have applied for at least half a dozen, if not 8, different accounts, from mainstream to online to different types of banking providers. And so far, every single one is coming back as no, which makes me wonder, do we need to change the structure to make it more palatable for the structures, that the legal framework that's about, which is a real ball ache. I literally just want to focus on building this case and getting it before the barrister, so the barrister can then say, yes, you can make your declaration of incompatibility. That is where I want to put all my energy. Excuse me, that was my dinner. To put all my energy and Claire's at the moment to get that finalised, because that's where I think everything should be happening at the minute. And then once that's gone to the barrister, and the barrister can review it and make their decisions, and then we know where we're going next. So that is where we are there. Now, yesterday I was drawn to some quite shocking article that was shared on someone's public page, personal page, which generated some discussion which involved WTU members. So although it wasn't actually, or didn't occur in WTU, or at least not to my knowledge, it involved WTU members, and I thought it best just to do an update in the community. So I saw an article, when I was tagged to an article, by Volte-Face. Now, some people, especially more veteran campaigners than myself, they know a bit more about this organisation than I do, and I've had experience with. So there's quite a few, I suppose rumours is the only way to describe it, because without concrete evidence sometimes it's a rumour. But anyway, it has a questionable reputation in the community for being controlled opposition, I think is the correct term for it. People think that it's been set up by the government to lead the reform movement in the direction the government would want it to go. And I have to say, after seeing the medical cannabis legislation change, I'm inclined to kind of see why people think that. But I haven't ever had any experience with them or got any personal connections or anything whatsoever, so I don't actually know from any personal sense, other than what I've heard more experienced campaigners in the community tell me. So the reason it caused a problem was because this organisation, which apparently, I don't know, I did hear it didn't have the same director, but their email's still at the bottom of the page, so I don't know who's behind it all, and I'm not going to claim to know. But there is a lady directing this new aspect of Volte-Face campaign for challenging the hemp legislation. Hemp legislation, well, all cannabis legislation, currently prohibits the flowers. So it seems from reading the article, they want to make it so British farmers can cultivate hemp, low THC cannabis, by the way, there's no such thing as hemp, and they can then make THC products without having to import it from Europe and that sort of stuff. So I obviously emailed Robert straight away, because people started to get a bit upset seeing Robert's name on this article with this other organisation. I had no idea about it, so it was a complete shock to me. I started emailing Robert straight away, or messaging WhatsApp, and he got back to it. I explained his situation. Now he has emailed that to me, which I have copied and pasted and put into this thread. In which he said that he also had reservations in the beginning, but the lady, Liz McCulloch, I think, put his mind at rest with what their campaign is all about. He doesn't believe there's a conflict of interest between the WTU campaign, which he's still very passionately supporting, and the Volte-Face campaign that he has now recently just been contracted for. So some people were saying it's a conflict of interest. Some people were trying to say I'm owned by Volte-Face and all that sort of crap. I've never read so much bullshit in my life. But it will ultimately come down to the WTU community now for you to decide whether you want to continue with Robert or not. Obviously, bear in mind it took me over 12 months to find a solicitor willing to represent the WTU aims. Robert is that solicitor, and he has told me he believes we have a strong case. So now I suppose you're going to have to come over to you guys as to what you want to do, because ultimately, yeah, I have donated to that legal fund myself, but it's the community's pot of money. It's not my pot of money. It's not my case. It's not my group. It's not my website. It's our. Yeah, our. That means it's yours, not mine. Ours. Okay, so please get this thing of Phil Monk's case out of your head. There is no Phil Monk's case, right? Till they burst through my fucking door and arrest me, which they could do at any time, it's not Phil Monk's case, it's WTU case. So I don't want to hear anyone ever call it Phil Monk's case again. Don't call it Phil Monk's group. It's we the undersigned. Okay, I was the catalyst. It was my idea. Yes, it got it going. But without everyone agreeing and getting on board, it wouldn't be happening. Without anyone donating into that little pot of the legal fund of £8,300, I think we raised, none of it would be happening. We wouldn't be able to get anything to a barrister if you guys, the 300 people that pledged, hadn't actually pledged your money. So please take ownership of this, actually, because it's not mine, it's ours. So we all need to decide on how we wish to move forwards. My vote is we stick with Robert, okay? So that's entirely up to the rest of the community to decide, but that's my one vote. So obviously that's all going to have to get discussed here, and I've no idea. People go off, do your research, because I haven't got the time to do everything. I have got my own life, my own family, and my own disabilities to manage, let alone building the case. So go off and do digging, do research, find out the truth about this Volte-Face organisation, because I don't know. Right, if you know, go off, find the evidence. Yeah, don't come back with rumours and speculation. Concrete evidence, because only concrete evidence can ever be used for anything, right? So I don't want to hear a single bit of rumour. Evidence. Come back with evidence, and then let's have a discussion, please, because we can always move forward with evidence. And if there is evidence, I fucking want to see it, actually. So I'm really keen for this to see how it grows and develops. I'm hoping it's not the end of the case as we built it so far, because it potentially could be from some of the things I've been reading. So it's entirely up to you. Again, I was just a catalyst. I always said I'm not a leader, I'm just a catalyst. I'm a founder. We had a lot of discussion about what title I should have, and it took a long time to get to founder. And that's the way it should stay. I don't consider any of you as my followers. I consider you as my equals. I consider you as my comrades, my partners, but I don't think of any of you as my followers or anything like that, so I fucking hate the term. So, I'm close to burnout and exhaustion, but we keep on going. Caffeine and cannabis keeps me there. I'm going to just keep building the case for two reasons. One, when they do smash through my door, that's my defence, okay? So then it will become my case, right? And yeah, my case could set a precedent that will help every fucking person in the country, or it could put me in prison. One or the other, go either way. I have no idea. Until I get a jury of 12 of my peers, there's no way of knowing. As everyone can tell, I've been quite willing to take that on. I've been very vocal, very honest, and very forthright in my writings to authorities and establishment. I would encourage you all to do exactly the same, literally. I'm not inciting you to commit a crime. I'm inciting you to be honest with evidenced research. So on that basis, I'm going to say a lot of things happening behind the scene, as always. A lot of pokers in fires. I'm helping as many people as I can with the time I have available in whatever ways I can, which is quite diverse at the minute. And I would encourage everyone to do the same again on the same basis. I'm just trying to think about anything else that I haven't mentioned there before I head off. Once Claire and I would now need to work on the surveys. So you may recall when you had the survey, 670 people responded. Thank you very much for taking the time. We are going to gather that information and make it into a far more concise format for the barrister, for them to then see some data from our community about how we utilise cannabis and how it isn't harmful to our health, and how, in fact, contrary to what governments state, it's beneficial. If you haven't yet written a testimonial, like your statement, if you will, against the government prohibition of cannabis policy, I think I may have got my words muddled up there. Very tired. Please visit our website, WTUHQ.org, and it's the testimonials page. You can go on there and you're able to make your statement. And these, theoretically, these could all eventually be submitted in the court of law in the case that we intend to bring. So, you know, take the opportunity. So far, I think we have 5 actual testimonials. Before we got the website that we currently have, I was sent a load by email and things like that. So I do have another bundle of testimonials that was separate from the current website. So we have, you know, maybe 100 testimonials, you know. I mean, the words piss poor spring to mind. I am quite rude and spoken. I might write very nice, but I'm quite rudely spoken. That's a terrible poor show from nearly 6,000 people that want the law changed. Do you want the law changed? And if so, what are you going to do about it? You cannot leave it all to me, my tiny little group of admin teams that are sick and disabled as me, and all the other activists that you see in all the other groups, right? You got to start joining in whatever way you can, because the more people that join in, the better. The stronger the movement becomes. So I'd encourage all of you to visit the website, write your statement.